You want the moon? Just say the word and I'll throw a lasso around it and pull it down.
Put that coffee down.
I'm a British nanny, and I'm dangerous.
It don't matter if you win by an inch or a mile. Winning's winning.
That was totally wicked!
It's the Al Travis Show, and I've mentioned already a couple of times what a great weekend I had watching sports in my garage this weekend. But it's the first I've let out what put it over the top, and that was the fact that Senator Karin Housley and I are like garage talking sports buddies, and I didn't even know it, and it made me so happy yesterday. Senator, how are you?
I am good. I didn't know you were going to get so excited about that. I can text you more like good juicy stuff on Sundays than when you text me, are you on tomorrow? I can say, yeah, I'm in my garage too with my TV and I'm drinking beers.
No, see, it's just the overall essence. So I had a real close friend who just came into town, but we couldn't go golfing. The timing didn't work out. Hey, we'll have a cocktail, cigar in the garage and watch the Masters on Saturday. And great conversation, good friend. The Masters is going really well, set up perfect. It was a great day. I'm thinking my weekend pretty much in the garage is done because I'm married. Okay, so this isn't a 2-day off thing. Something happens, wife's got some stuff going on, she's in there, and I said, well, if you don't care, I'll go out in the garage and watch the rest of the Masters. She goes, go ahead. And I'm like, pausing to see if that was really go ahead or if it's go ahead and we'll get a divorce lawyer later. But it was a go ahead. So I grabbed some cigars, went out, and from about 11 o'clock to 5, between the Masters, the Twins, the Timberwolves, the Golden State Warriors, it was heaven. And then in that, I'm sending out my little text to all the guests coming on. I said, Senator, are you going to be on? And you start texting me about the Masters. I'm like, I got a new garage buddy.
Well, the Masters is kind of a big deal weekend. Like I don't know who wouldn't be watching the Masters yesterday. It was it was one of the best, don't you think? It was, I have to tell you, I was rooting for Bryson DeChambeau because I'm in South Carolina right now, and my newest grandson is named Bryson. So we were cheering for Bryson, but Bryson sort of...
This is what bothered me when I saw your social media on this, because I spent most of the afternoon, I think I brought up to my wife when I came and said, oh yeah, we're just texting back and forth, the senator and I. I like to let her know who's who. Later in the day or this morning, I saw that you were at a golf course with this Bryson kid, this little bundle of joy. So I'm thinking now somebody went golfing, you were at the golf course watching the kid for 3 hours, and I was just like filled time with grown-ups because you were just chatting with a kid the whole time. Was I just filler?
No, you were not just filler. No,
okay.
I've got ADHD as I think half the population does. So we can multitask and talk to little babies and text Al Travis all while watching Bryson DeChambeau
blow up,
die. Okay, so a little bit of gossip because you can't just watch the Masters without the gossip. But did you see? It was a little awkward there between Rory McIlroy and his wife. He filed for divorce 11 months ago. Yeah. And then a month later changed his mind. So of course, as a woman, when you're watching it, and you really look at what the wife's wearing and the whole 9 yards, but it was a little awkward when he went to kiss her after, and kind of especially when that reporter for CBS, that Amanda lady, is the one that he was rumored having I know we're going off on a tangent on the
That's all right.
show, but you're watching very closely for any little cue, like what's going on with the McIlroy relationship. But it was pretty cool to see somebody win the Grand Slam when there's only been 5 others. That once Bryson wasn't going to win, I was all in Rory's camp because I just wanted to see it. I mean, we all saw Tiger do it, but not a lot of people have seen Jack Carey and Hogan and Sarazan.
Let me ask you this. Even if things are going horribly wrong for the two of them, he just cashed a $4.3 million check, which I presume she's getting at least half of. You can be at least that happy. Then you look and tell me if, you probably won't tell me this. Did Phil ever in your life, your husband, become this wallowing child crying on the ground, walking and crying the entire time baby. I'm thinking she's like, give me my $2.5 million. I'll walk right now, you big girl. He was crying uncontrollably. That's not normal.
It was 17 Masters starts and didn't win, and 11 years trying to complete the Grand Slam. You could kind of see that weight being lifted off of his shoulder. But no, when Phil did win the club championship at Pinnacle Peak down in Arizona, he ran and jumped in the lake.
A guy thing. I have now never, you talk, he's all 17 tries at Augusta. He hasn't won till today. I haven't won my club championship in 30 years. Even if I should do it, I do not see me crying and blithering like an idiot. But
yeah. It was. Rory's a bit of a different dude. I don't like. We were trying to decide if we liked him or didn't like him, and my son-in-law absolutely loves him. He thinks he's the greatest thing since sliced bread. Has been watching him for 11 years. My son-in-law got a little teary-eyed. He was so excited for Rory, and I'm like, I don't know if I like him yet, but. Great to see someone win the Grand
That
Slam.
crying made him millions of dollars. That crying made him a personal favorite. People thought it was great. He finally, like you say, he's going to make plenty of money just off the fact he won. I want to throw one negative out before we go, if we can. New York Rangers are not playing in the playoffs. What happened?
Oh gosh, it's just so sad. We've had a really, really rough season. A lot of personnel changes, and a lot of players didn't live up to they're doing half of what they did last year. It's really been a bummer. So I'm on my way to New York now, and I was telling my husband on the phone, should I bring 2 empty suitcases, like the big suitcases, just in case we get fired? I can take my stuff.
Wow.
And he was like, no. So I said, well, I'm bringing the big empty suitcases because that way you won't get fired. But if I don't bring the empty suitcases, you're gonna keep your job. So. If I don't bring him, he'll get fired. So you're doing, that's one of those superstitious things, and Murphy's Law all in one. So I've been traveling from Minneapolis to Greenville through Atlanta and now to LaGuardia with these 2 humongous suitcases, empty, completely.
Let me ask you this, if I can. The New York Rangers are going along. The coaching staff a year ago, you guys were flying high as all get out. So I mean, doesn't ownership? Maybe you can't even say this. Does the ownership inkle that they're really mad that all of a sudden the coach couldn't be good coaches? The coaches all stink. You're looking at players, like you say, have half the production they had a year ago. That's on the coach. How much of this in any sport you're blaming the coach for what lack of production from other people? I'm missing something, because you don't forget how to coach.
When you get hired as a coach, you're getting hired to be fired, but it's kind of sad because some coaches get renewed even though their team continues to stink and not make the playoffs. And then the Rangers seem to be firing them every 2 years. There's other teams that do the same thing, but and then you could be a coach and then move to the next team, and then that team wins the Stanley Cup. So it's just a weird occupation to be in. And then there's the President's Trophy, which the New York Rangers won last year. So we were on top of the league at the end of the season. And then there's the President's Trophy curse, because nobody wins the Stanley Cup when you win the President's Trophy, and you're usually out in the first round of the playoffs, or you miss the playoffs like we just did this year. So the Winnipeg Jets are probably going to win the President's Trophy this year, and good luck to them. I think the Washington Capitals have kind of backed off. They don't want to win the President's Trophy.
I was just going to ask you, my new garage buddy, if you believe in the curse. But you're the same person who kept her Christmas tree up for like 5 months because it was going well. So, yeah, you're a curse/jinx believer.
Oh,
all right.
Yeah.
Well, you got to know that when you're friends, if they're into it or not. I got to go to break. We come back. We'll actually talk some Minnesota news here. We'll do it right after this with Senator Karin Housley.
All the special interests are represented in St. Paul. But who speaks for you? Center of the American Experiment does. Our policy fellows dig into the tough issues that matter to you and offer common sense solutions on education, taxes, crime, and energy. American Experiment is the trusted, nonpartisan voice of Minnesotans like you. We are working every day to make Minnesota a better, safer, more prosperous place. We are American Experiment. Go to americanexperiment.org to learn more.
Dust from gravel roads and driveways does more than make your car dirty inside and out. It gets down into your lungs, and it's bad for your health. Now there's an environmentally friendly solution for your dust problems. It's called Dust Lock. DustLock can control all your summer dust problems with just one application. Protect your vehicle and your lungs. Learn more at dustlock.com.
As in alligator. L also in alligator. But it's not alligator. It's the Al Travis Show.
Two more things with my new garage buddy. By the way, bring Phil when you come down. I couldn't wait to have a Hall of Famer in my garage. I'll have him sign like the side of it or something. We'll have cigars. It'll be fun. Maduro or Connecticut wrap? What do you prefer on a cigar?
Oh, gosh.
Her face looks.
I was like,
she looks
what?
at me like, "What the heck?" It was a cigar. It was a joke.
I would
It's
like
fine.
a good
You have
Kim
no idea.
Crawford Sauvignon Blanc and no tobacco.
Is that a cigar? No, I'll figure that out. I'll look it up.
No tobacco. No, just
the other
wine.
Okay,
Or Bud
we'll
Light
get you-
Lime.
We'll find out. Okay, we'll find out. Anyway, here's what I didn't understand. I'm looking up the Rangers stuff. I'm just one last thing before we go. Do you realize the New York Rangers difference in scoring is 5? 80 games, and they were outscored by 5 goals over and under. That's it.
They were 5 goals.
5 goals. They had 247 for, 252 against 5. My point to you is to not be in by that. The team with a -3 is still in contention. You look at Minnesota, we're down 12 and still in.
No.
Yeah, we had 12. We've scored 12 less goals in it. So when we lose big, I guess it would be the way to say that.
Yeah.
But you guys are right there. If 6 goals went a different way, you're probably in this bad boy in 80 games. I don't mean to hurt your feeling. I was just reading that. And I'm like,
I was just telling my Uber driver about the Timberwolves. I'm glad they made the playoffs. I'm super excited for them. But it's like you got to put emphasis on those games at the beginning of the season because they can really make a difference at this point in the season. So,
wow.
and everybody focuses on these last 5 games this season. Like, geez, couldn't those games have flipped earlier on? But it is what it is. And Phil will be coming home. So that's the good sign. And hopefully he comes home and still has a job.
I hope so for you as well, but you're not. We just got garage time. You can come down anytime. I want to throw one more. Well, let's talk some news stuff. It's out today. I don't know if you would have seen it. Ghost students at community colleges is the next fraud thing going on. Evidently, and Senator Gustafson talked about it a little bit, community and 2-year colleges are being ripped off left and right by people who, oh, guess what, may not even live in the country. Century College, the head guy there came out and said in 2023, 15% of the kids going to school there did not go to school there. They sign up. You can take all these classes online, so you don't have to be there. You make up a name. You send in the forms. The school gets paid. Anything extra, they mail to the bank account of the fraudster.
No way.
I'm not lying. It's in the paper today. I wrote it all down.
Oh my God, Century College is in my district too.
Oh,
wow,
we didn't know that.
We're going to have to get this in front of the Higher Ed Committee and Senator Jason Rarick because, I mean, add that to the over $600 million in fraud under the Walz administration. And now there's this.
Well, what kills me, but how easy do we make it to fraud? In the article, please get a Star and Trib. The Star and Trib, one of these people said, we could stop this if we made them all show up one day to class. The first week, if you had to come to class so I could see you eye to eye, these guys couldn't sit in some foreign country signing up for a bunch of classes. They'd have to be here. Probably cut it off. But he said that sure would take a lot of work.
Oh, to get their butts in the seat would take a lot of work. Oh, I'm sorry. You're one of our students. Show up here. I don't want to say bad things about these institutions, but they come to us on the bonding committee, and that's what I'm in charge of, doling out money to all of these institutions because they need to upgrade their buildings. It's called keeper dollars, and it's maintaining these old buildings. And I'm like, well, how many students do you have going to these buildings? Like, I'm not going to give you money to get a building brand new and beautiful, and no one's going to be going to them. So, get these students into the schools, and then we wouldn't have the fraud. Wow.
Doesn't sound that hard. And here's one for you, too, as long as we're talking schools. I saw this Marion O'Neill, Representative O'Neill, in front of her committee discussing the idea that we used to have a law that a state employee could not make more money than the governor without exemption. Well, evidently that rule exempts everybody at the University of Minnesota. You talk about schools asking for money. They come for $500 million every time we have negotiations. Otherwise, we're going to raise tuition. 2 years ago, we gave every kid $80,000 and below. We'll pay for it. Don't worry about it. And they still raise tuition because they said we're a land-grant institution. Well, she comes out and says, take a gander. How many people at the University of Minnesota make more money than the governor? 2,100 people at the University of Minnesota make more than the governor. The top 100 make more than $300,000 a year. Senator, I can name the head, the vice head, and from there on, I have a hard time finding anybody that should be in six figures.
Well, all I know is we're definitely in the wrong business. That's for sure. We need to go apply over there at the University of Minnesota. Isn't that just unbelievable? All of this money going, and I really do like their new president, and she has come to the Capitol many times. I do like her, but they got to reel this stuff in. And on top of that, there's not that many kids graduating from high school that even want to go get a 4-year degree anymore. And I don't disagree with them. There's so many trades occupations out there that you can make more money than if you get your 4-year degree in anthropology. Oops, did I just say
you mean like I go to school full time? I just sign up to massive numbers of school and I don't have to show up? What a great job. How do we make it so easy in Minnesota? What, you're feeding 3,000 people at your apartment for a COVID? Oh, no, it's 6,000. Oh, 9? Here's a check. We make it so easy to steal from us, it's not even funny.
So easy, even when they're tipped off. Governor Walz, there might be some fraud happening over here at Feeding Our Future. Oh, no, there's not. No, there's not. Don't go check. Don't go check and see if there's fraud. $600 million.
The question is, did the Attorney General actually talk to these futures people and say, don't worry, I've got your back? This timing on that could be huge. You barely heard about it in the news. That is going to be huge. And how do we find out? Who goes after the Attorney General in a state? Who's the legal guy?
Can he be brought before a committee, like an ethics violation from the House and Senate? I mean, for him to say that publicly, like, wow. And of course, we all knew that's what he's saying privately, but to go out and actually have these people's back and say it. Yeah, he needs to be fired, but of course he's not going to get fired, and he'll continue to get reelected, because I wish people in Minnesota would pay attention to all the corruption that's happening under the Walz administration.
It's offhanded and crazy. Find somebody, find out how many millions we've given away in this new thing with community colleges, and we're going to bid ourselves real close to $1 billion. That's what we're going to get.
I'm going to dig into that this week. I'm going to first go read the Star Tribune right now, and then I'm going to get more details, and we're going to talk about that next week. And I'm going to go over to Century College, and I'm going to see how many butts are in those seats.
I love that. Senator, you have a good day and safe flights.
Thank you. See you later.
Dust from livestock buildings.